Hey folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. Hope everyone's doing well, wherever in the world you are. Weather report, the thaw is on, so maybe this is a sign of an early spring. I certainly hope so, though of course we've had snow as late as April here, so don't hold your breath. Anyways, to boxing. I've been thinking more about Martin Bakole in particular, but this is, more generic, really, not just exclusively Bakole. But let's focus on Bakole for the moment. And in particular, of course, Bakole's fight against Parker. Now, I have said on this channel that I have the utmost absolute respect for Martin Bakole for taking the fight at very short notice, incredibly short notice. I've also got respect for Parker for picking Bakole out of a selection that he may have had, which included Lawrence Okoli, Martin Bakole, and some other names. So full marks and full respect for both fighters. I've also said on this channel that I completely understand why Martin Bakole, when Billy Nelson called him and said, "Hey, I've just got a call from Turki Al Sheikh, are you up for the fight?" I completely get why Martin Bakole would have said yes. Particularly, as Billy Nelson has said, it was life-changing money. And I think unless you're a multi-millionaire with more money than you can spend, you should never comment negatively upon another person's decision to do something for money, which, they don't have and they might well need. So with those two things in mind, I'm left asking the question, do fighters need saving from themselves? And in this, I mean, not just in the ring, where some fighters simply have no quit and they will take a beating that is, beyond the pale, and the ref needs to interject to stop the fight. And of course, we've seen instances where the ref has been slow, we've seen instances where the ref has been fast, and there's always a debate about that. Faster is usually better in my book, but and we've seen instances where cornermen, trainers, have thrown in the towel and said, "No, you're not fighting anymore." But sometimes fighters, of course, they're in the ring, they're tunnel vision, their adrenaline's up, and they're warriors, which is why they're fighters and not ping pong players, right? And they don't want to quit. Very few do, and they also know that there's a certain degree of criticism leveled against them if they do let the clock run out. But we've seen in this Bakole fight, first of all, Dubois was not allowed to fight because of fighter safety. He's sick. So they say, no, you can't let somebody who's sick fight. Okay, if he's sick, that's understandable. But when Bakole rocks up at 2 a.m, he's clearly tired. He's being interviewed. Who knows what time he got to bed? Who knows how much quality sleep he had? And I know there isn't a big time difference between the Congo and Saudi Arabia. 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Not quite sure on that. 2 or 3 hours. But anybody who's ever flown from Vancouver to Toronto knows that 3 hours it can put you off. It can unbalance you. He'd taken 4 flights. It's in a pressurized compartment. There's lots of unhealthy bad things. And then there's his weight. I mean, yes, he's always a big man, but there's a point in being, carrying a few extra pounds and being almost obese, like so totally out of shape. And Billy Nelson said he hadn't sparred since August. So is it right to allow somebody in such poor condition to enter a fight against another elite level athlete, in this case Joe Parker? It's a difficult one, because I understand you want to say, well, let the man take advantage of the opportunity, and I'm all over that. But is it the case that letting the person get in the ring totally untrained, massively out of shape, exposes that person to a greater risk of harm than would otherwise be the case. We clearly can't expect Joseph Parker to go easy on him. Joseph Parker has a job to do. Joseph Parker's job is to put the man away as quickly as possible to win the fight. And if Bakole had caught Parker with some of those close shaves in round one, Parker would have been on Queer Street himself. So you can't expect Parker to, go easy. But there is a point at which Bakole was not going to be able to properly defend himself. His timing is going to be off, his movement's going to be off, he's not going to be able to get off his punches. He's simply not going to be in the same condition as you would reasonably expect a fighter to be in. Now, I understand that people have a medical check before the fight, but there's an issue about fitness, and what responsibility is there for the medical people to say, we just don't think that you're okay, your heart rate is fine, your pulse rate is fine, your eyes are looking good, open your mouth, stick out your tongue, cough. But is there a responsibility for I'll call it the organizers, right? So that captures a bunch of different people to say, we're not comfortable with you getting in that ring because we think the possibility of you being seriously hurt has increased past a certain level. Like, there's always a possibility that somebody can get seriously hurt. I get it. It's combat sport. It's boxing. But, even if, and I think this is broader, like with Tyson, for example, that fiasco on Netflix. Is there a point where somebody is simply too old? I mean, a trainer might be able to get me as fit as a butcher's dog. But clearly at my age, I can't take a blow like I may or may not have been able to when I was much younger. Tyson is a good example, 58. Was he risking something that a 38-year-old man wasn't? Even if they were comparably fit, right? And we see it in the ring, where, who here remembers Larry Holmes beating Muhammad Ali? At various points, Holmes is looking to the ref like, stop this shit. I'm going to kill this guy. And the ref, of course, allowed it to go on, in my view, too far, right? Ali was allowed into the ring in conditions where I think we all now recognize he shouldn't have been allowed into the ring. And I'm not saying that Bakole and Ali are comparable. I'm not making a direct correlation. I'm talking about an issue of, do fighters need somebody, a third party who's not part of the money circle around them, a third party to say, look, I'm sorry, I know you want to fight, but you're not fit for purpose. What do you think? We've seen too many accidents in the ring. We've seen too many incidents. We've seen too many fighters pass their best. And we know that fighters want to continue. I mean, Deontay Wilder fired his first Mark Breland because Breland threw in the towel. It was the right decision to throw in the towel, but Deontay was pissed. Fighters can't be making these best decisions because they're warriors. Trainers and managers and others have interests in their fighters. They're almost in a conflict of interest, right? They want the best for their fighter. They want their fighter to do well. They want their fighter to make lots of money, but they're also conflicted. I'm asking these questions because I'm genuinely interested in what people think. I actually don't even know what I think on this issue. Part of me wants to say, look, you're all big boys, you sign a piece of paper, you get in the ring, you do your thing. That's what you're paid for, you're professional athletes. Part of me says, do we need somebody who's that sober second voice to say, sorry, buddy, you're not fit for purpose? Let me know what you think. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. But most importantly, have a fabulous day wherever you are. Cheers. Bye-bye.